As we move into the third chapter of Nehemiah this week, we take a look at the many diverse and unlikely groups of people who have come together in unity to work tirelessly to restore and rebuild the walls of Jerusalem with Nehemiah. And now, here's Pastor Todd.
Thank you for joining us for the midweek message. We're in the book of Nehemiah. We've been studying the children of Israel as they come back from the Babylonian captivity. We're now 90 years removed from that, and Nehemiah has shown up on the scene. He was the cupbearer to the king, king of Persia. He's one of the leaders for the king, and the king has given him the materials that he needs, the strength that he needs, the protection that he needs to go and rebuild the walls of Jerusalem so that the city can fortify itself and stand for itself once the walls are rebuilt. Now, Nehemiah has a large task in front of him. He has investigated the task. He has seen the work that needs to be done, and now he has gotten buy-in from the people. And what we see in Nehemiah chapter 3 is what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at all the people who join in. Now, I'm not reading all of chapter 3. I normally read all of the passages I go through. This one is basically 31 verses, 32 verses of names that I would butcher. So what I want to do is kind of break it down a little bit. There are a couple of things I want to point out. It's incredible the people that are involved in this process. Some very unexpected people are involved in this process. So let's look at this, break it down a little bit. In Nehemiah chapter 3, verse 1, it says, "Then Eliashib, the high priest, rose up with his brethren, the priest, and built the sheep gate." Now I point to this verse first because even the high priest is involved. This is not a person you normally would see getting his hands dirty. This is a person that normally would be reading scriptures and studying, those kind of things. He is out there with his brethren getting this gate repaired so that the wall can be repaired. In verse 5, it tells about someone else, and it's funny because for all of history, these people are going to be recorded, and it's not the most positive light. Look at this. Verse 5 says, "Next to them, the Tekoites made repairs, but their nobles did not put their shoulders to the work of their Lord." I love that verse because God has recorded for all of eternity that the nobles did not put their shoulders into the work of the Lord. I love that idea. When we talk about when things get hard, you put your shoulders into it, you put your strain into it, you put your effort into it. These nobles weren't really trying as hard as everybody else. But here's the thing, they were still out there. They may not be working as hard as everybody else, but they're out there. Why? Because the whole community of believers in the Lord God Almighty, those people had gone to the walls in belief that God was using them for a greater plan. I love in verse 8 where it says, "Next to him, Uzziel, the son of Harhaiah, one of the goldsmiths, made repairs. Also next to him, Hananiah, one of the perfumers, made repairs. And they fortified Jerusalem as far as the broad wall. And next to them, Rephaiah, the son of Hur, leader of half the district of Jerusalem, made repairs." Now I point out these people because these are your upper echelon of people. These are the governors, the leaders. These are the ones who have great political power and great power themselves. And yet they are in the middle of it, getting their hands dirty just like everyone else. Why? Because it was all hands on deck to make sure this got done. In verse 12, we see more people. "And next to him was Shallum, the son of Halohesh, leader of half the district of Jerusalem. He and his daughters made repairs." So it's surprising because you think this would be something the men of those days would have been working on. But here it says even the daughters of the men have joined in to be part of the process. That would have been highly unusual in that day and age. Not that women couldn't do it. It's just they weren't very often asked to do this kind of work. And here you see all hands on deck. In verse 17, you see the Levites. It says, "After him, the Levites under Rehum, the son of Bani, made repairs. Next to him, Hashabiah, leader of half the district of Keilah, made repairs for his district." In verse 31, it goes on to say, "After him, Malchijah, one of the goldsmiths, made repairs as far as the house of Nethahim and the merchants in front of the Mifkad gate, and as far as the upper room at the corner, and between the upper room at the corner, as far as the sheep gate, the goldsmiths and the merchants made repairs. So what's incredible about this is you had goldsmiths, you had leaders of the community, you had the daughters of the leaders of the community, you had perfumers coming out. I cannot imagine that many of those men had laid brick before, but all of them were out there participating because they believed in the work that was being done. They realized that as they joined together, they were doing something great not only for their community, but for God Himself. They saw this as a God-ordained task. I think about our church. Our church is a church that has all kinds of people. We have lawyers, we have doctors, we have all kinds of people come through our church doors. We have people who are mechanics and people who fix things at apartments and housewives and women who work in banks and some of the highest levels of different corporations. They come through the church doors, but when they come into the church, we all join together for a common cause. And that cause is to win people to Christ and disciple them so that they too might go out and win others. It's a noble cause, it's a powerful cause, and it's a God-ordained cause. My question to you today is, are you out with us, the rest of the church, helping to build what God is building? Have you taken your place at the wall? I tell you, if you've not, you're missing out on some of the greatest things that God will ever use you to do. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great week.